A thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle.
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. Come on and join us.
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, our heroes are slowly closing in on the Lost Mountain and Bullwinkle's Upsidasium mine. They found some primitive markers in the desert pointing the way to Mount Flatten, but to their dismay, the last marker pointed back the way they had come.
Anything I can't stand is a signpost that talks back to itself.
But this means we must have passed Mount Flatten.
Past it? Look back the way we came. No mountain there.
Yeah, it's pretty flat, all right.
You don't suppose somebody buried it accidental-like?
Not a whole mountain. Now let's think.
Boris, darling, what do you suppose happened to mountain?
Simple, Natasha. Somebody stole it.
Boris, who would ever steal an enormous mountain?
I would.
Bullwinkle, I think I got it.
I'm all ears, Rock. Except in front where I mostly nose.
If Mount Flatten isn't back there...
And it isn't.
And it isn't ahead there...
And it isn't.
And it isn't down there...
Obviously, darling.
Ergo, it must be up there.
Oh, for gunny sacks.
Yes, incredible though it seemed, there, hovering miles over their heads, was an enormous, regulation-size, official mountain peak.
So that's Mount Flatten.
No wonder it's not on the map.
But how come it's up in the air?
Well, that's easy, Bullwinkle. Upsidasium.
And a coochie-coochie to you, too. But why?
I mean, Mount Flatten is full of that anti-gravity metal, Upsidasium.
You hear, Boris?
You said it, Natasha.
Upsidasium.
This time we hit jackpot.
What next, darling?
What else? Get rid of Moose and Squirrel.
No, the only thing to worry about is how to get up there.
I'll handle that, Rock.
Getting us up there?
No, worrying about it.
Well, you give me a start and I'll try flying up, Bullwinkle.
Right. Let's go.
Ellie!
Boop!
And Bullwinkle launched Rocky high into the air. Up, up, up he went, nearer and nearer to the bottom of Mount Flatten. Then as his momentum slackened, he flew slower and slower.
Golly, I'm gonna stall out.
And stall he did, just inches from his goal.
Well, next time ought to do it, Bullwinkle.
Oh, he did it.
Next time he might, we must stop him.
How, darling?
Observe, Natasha. A villain's best friend, old abandoned mine shaft.
Is deep, darling.
Listen.
And Boris picked up a pebble and dropped it into the shaft. 3 minutes later, the pebble still hadn't hit bottom.
Oh, that should be deep enough. But how you'll get them in?
Easy, I changed sign.
And quickly, Boris replaced the danger sign on the shaft with one which said elevator up only. Then the two villains retired to see if their plan would work.
Boris, what kind of idiot would try to go up an elevator shaft that goes only down?
That kind of idiot.
Hey, Rocky, our problem is solved. Here's the elevator
Bullwinkle, don't do it.
Don't do what?
That.
Rocky!
Never fear, Bullwinkle. I'm coming.
And the fearless squirrel zoomed down the shaft after his friend. Instantly, Boris leaped from his hiding place and boarded up the entrance to the mine shaft.
Oh, Boris, you are one smart fiend.
Only one thing, darling. How we're going to get up to mountain.
Easy. Moose throws Squirrel up, Squirrel throws rope down. Then I got to save them.
And Boris flew to the mine shaft just an instant too late.
What was that, darling?
Only one thing makes noise like that.
What?
Moose on the rocks.
Is Boris Bedanov right again? We'll see next time in Go Down Mooses or The Fall Guy.
What's wrong, Junior?
How do you like that, Pop? I found a bee in a jar, and when I let him go free, he bit me.
Son?
I know, Dad. You got a moral for that.
Right. No gratitude is to be expected from the wicked. That sort of gets you, doesn't it?
He sure did.
As a further example of that adage, let me tell the fable of the lion and the aardvark.
The lion and the what?
Aardvark. Ask anyone, and they'll tell you that a forest is a kingdom. And when you have a kingdom, you must have a...
Aardvark.
No. A king, or lion if you prefer. For they are the kings of all animals.
So you got hit by a truck, did you?
Yeah, Your Majesty.
Well, what do you expect me to do about it? I can't help it if you're clumsy.
Oh, sire, it isn't the pain I mind, you know. It's the humility.
You mean it's hot in here?
You don't understand. When I got hit, I fell, and I knocked 30 lashes off my right eyelid.
Is that all? Take him out and give him 30 lashes.
On my eye?
Are you kidding? On your back.
As you can see, this particular king was a tyrant. He objected to everything, especially small, inconsequential matters, such as small, inconsequential insects.
Doggone it! Who let that moth in here?
Not only was the moth persistent, he obviously had little respect for a monarch.
A moth killer. My kingdom for a moth killer.
3 of the smartest creatures in the kingdom were summoned. They were a fox, a bear, and a hoot owl, who really didn't give a hoot, but he was there anyway.
Okay, you heard what Aesop just said. You guys are supposed to be smart. Let's see you get rid of this moth.
The fox was first.
It is a well-known fact, Your Nastiness, that moths have an attraction for flames. Therefore, I will shoot this flamethrower, and the moth will commit Hoot Gibson.
That's Harry Carey.
Of course.
Wasting not a second, the fox sent a sheet of flame across the cave. But curiously enough, the moth was not the least bit attracted to the flame. He preferred Limburger.
I say, the little rascal likes cheese.
I noticed that.
Although the fox had tried his best, he met the same fate as the weasel. It was the bear's turn now.
Us bears are usually dependent upon brawn rather than brains, oh liege. But in this case, I think maybe my brains can help you escape that dreaded moth.
Hoot Gibson. Of course.
Who asked you?
The bear's scheme was simple. He put an inverted fishbowl over the lion's head and instructed him to stay underwater. The moth certainly would not pester him there. But this was a moth with a purpose, and a fishbowl. Last and certainly the least was the owl.
Look, Owl, I'm tired of this goofing around, see? If you can't get rid of the moth, I'll not only give you 30 lashes, I'll give 30 lashes to every animal in the forest.
Very generous, but never fear, oh sire. I have a surefire plan. Moths breathe, right?
How should I know?
I'll take my word for it. Moths breathe. Therefore, you cut off his air supply and he'll perish.
Is that anything like dying?
Well, something like it. Now, what I'll do is this. I'll put a big boulder in front of the cave and shut off the airflow.
I get it. The moth will be in here, and pretty soon he'll run out of gas.
Air.
Yeah, Hoot Gibson.
Oh, there's just one other thing. Somebody's got to stay in here with the moth to make sure he doesn't fly out.
Well, it's not gonna be me, Buster.
Look, he's always following you. If you come out, he'll come out.
You're right.
Well, I guess you can tell what happened. The owl went to a nearby hill, pried loose a huge boulder, and sent it rolling at the cave. The cave was sealed off from the outside world, and so was the wicked king. As for the moth, it managed to wriggle between a small opening and flitted off to freedom.
Sure, some fable, Dad. What about the aardvark?
The which?
The aardvark. You know, you said...
Never mind what I said. The only important thing is the moral. No gratitude is to be expected from the wicked.
I have a better one, Dad.
Oh, you have what?
Yeah. A rolling stone gathers no moth.
Hoot Gibson, son.
And now for all of you out there who need to know a little bit more about a little bit less, here he is, Mr. Know-It-All.
Greetings, Ineffectuals. Today's recession is entitled, Wouldn't a Trophy Look Nice Over Your Fireplace? Or How to Get Ahead. Being a big game hunter is really quite simple, like me. All you need is a rifle and a faithful Indian guide.
How?
Are you sure you're a faithful Indian guide?
Sure thing, see feather?
You know they're not making Indians like they used to. You are now ready for the hunt.
Look, here is tiger footprints.
How do you know that is a tiger's footprints?
Because the tiger's foot is still in it.
He is a magnificent beast, and you shout to your faithful Indian guide who is carrying the rifle, "The gun! Let me have it!
What's that?
Let me have it!"
Seems silly, but okay.
Your wound heals quickly in the dry, warm climate, and you are ready once again, this time for the biggest game of all, elephant. And you do not even bring a gun.
Hey, Buana, how you going to get elephant without gun?
All I really need is a little toy mouse. If I show this to an elephant, he will become so frightened he will faint. And so, in conclusion, you can see that getting a trophy to hang over your fireplace is really no trouble at all, especially if you happen to have a flying squirrel for a little friend.
Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All. I think. And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
But...
See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Peabody here. Sherman and I have a date with Florence.
Florence who, Mr. Peabody?
Florence, Italy, Sherman. Today, the Wayback Machine will take us back to the year 1506 to a small studio in Florence where we'll visit that great genius of the Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci. It was child's play for the Wayback to teleport us into the 16th century. Before we knew it, we were standing before the master painter as he applied the finishing touches to one of his creations.
All done. That's the best picture I'm drawing all week.
Another masterpiece, Leonardo?
You betcha, Boots. Here, take a look.
Do not disturb. Is this what you painted?
Sure. You like?
It's brilliant. But why are you painting signs?
Make a festa buck, that's why. How about a nice out to lunch sign? I'ma do it for you in the future.
Thank you, no.
I still don't get it, Mr. Da Vinci.
Hey, call me Lenny.
Well, what I don't understand, Lenny, is how come you're not painting masterpieces?
Da Vinci led us into a small alcove. On an easel stood an incomplete portrait.
Here's why I'm no painting masterpiece. Last week, a fella come to me, asked me to paint a picture of his wife. She's named Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa? Yes, I've heard of it.
Well, the husband say, I'm gotta paint a Mona Lisa with a smile. Only Mona Lisa, she no got a smile. That's why I no finish the picture. Paint the signs instead.
I was about to ask why Mona Lisa wouldn't smile when the door opened and in came the subject herself.
That's a Mona Lisa. Hey, Mon, smile for the guys.
I studied that classic face. She tried her best to smile. but couldn't. It was then I noticed her swollen jaw. She has a toothache.
Well, no wonder she won't smile.
Toothache! And all the time I think she's got a jawbreaker in her mouth.
We insisted upon escorting the poor girl to the nearest dentist. Unfortunately, his methods of pulling teeth left much to be desired.
Now, this way is gonna work. I'm gonna shoot a bow and an arrow. The arrow, she's tied to string. String, she's tied to the tooth. When the arrow goes, the tooth goes.
Drawing the bow taut, the dentist aimed at a distant target, then let the arrow fly. And fly it did. So did Mona Lisa.
Aye, that's a pretty strong tooth you got there, Moni.
Undaunted, the determined dentist took us to a high cliff.
All right, Moni. This time we get the tooth out for sure. Now, you just take one little step forward.
But if she does that, she'll go right over.
All right. Now, Mona, please, whatever you do, land on your face.
But she'll get hurt.
Yeah, but the tooth, she's gonna come out. All right, now you watch me, Mona. Put your little left foot out first. Now you're right. And before you know it, you gonna go...
Well, there goes our last hope.
Not our last, Chairman. It simply means we'll take matters into our own hands.
You have something in mind, Mr. Peabody?
Yes. Lunch.
Lunch?
Lunch. We adjourned to a neighborhood pizza parlor and consumed 3 well-done pies.
That was delicious, Mr. Peabody. But what are we going to do about Mona Lisa's toothache?
I think we'll find it's better now, Sherman. Let's go back to Da Vinci's studio.
Hey, the picture's all done. What do you think?
I like it.
I do, too.
I wish I did. But that half a smile, she's a bother me.
Somehow I have a feeling, Mr. Da Vinci, that half smile will be the making of this portrait.
Hey, you crazy?
No, I mean it.
I don't understand, Mr. Peabody. How come she's only wearing half a smile?
Those pizzas we had for lunch, Sherman. You see, I reasoned that some consistent chewing would loosen her tooth sufficiently to cause it to fall out. Unfortunately, it was a front tooth that bothered her. Oh, well, half a smile is better than none.
Last time, you remember, Boris fixed up an abandoned mine shaft to look like an elevator. It was a clever booby trap, and it trapped a pretty clever booby.
Hey, Rocky, our problem is solved.
Bullwinkle, don't do it!
Don't do what?
Yes, Bullwinkle plummeted down the mine shaft, and Rocky followed in a desperate effort to save him. Then Boris quickly boarded up the shaft.
2 boobies with 1 trap. That's real economy, Natasha.
But now how do we get up to Mount Flatten?
Too late, Boris realized that with Rocky gone, he had lost his means of reaching the mysterious floating mountain. Quickly, he dashed to the mine shaft, but seemed to be just a little late.
Oh, boy, I bet that hurt.
But what Boris had heard was merely the sound of boulders loosened by Bullwinkle's fall, for the moose was still dropping through space with Rocky close behind.
There's only one thing to do, Bullwinkle.
Yeah, and I'm doing it.
What's that?
I'm falling.
No, I have a plan.
And Rocky zoomed downward in the darkness ahead of Bullwinkle. Reaching the bottom of the shaft, he judged the speed of Bullwinkle's fall, and at precisely the right moment leaped upward with all of his might and met the moose's huge bulk in midair. Stunned and shaken, but still sound of wind and limb, Bullwinkle easily dropped a short distance to the bottom of the shaft.
That was a great idea, Rocky. Rocky, where are you?
Alas, no voice answered, and at the bottom of the shaft, a silent form lay sprawled on the stones.
Rocky, buddy, speak to me. Don't tease old Bullwinkle. Say something.
Something.
Well, that's something.
Meanwhile, Boris and Natasha were peering down into the darkness from the top of the shaft.
What we do now?
What else? We play taps.
But I don't have bugle.
Fake it, fake it. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dee. Dum-de-dum, dum-de-dum, dum-de-dee.
Hey, stop that singing and dancing up there.
Boris, listen.
Get us out of here!
Who do you suppose that is?
Well, it's not Ghost of Christmas Past. Quick, Natasha, the rope.
Here, darling.
Not that rope, the rescue rope.
And a few moments later, our friends were pulled safely out of the abandoned mine shaft.
Boy, somebody sure played a dirty trick on us putting that sign up.
You just didn't read the fine print.
What fine print?
Here, use my magnifying glass.
What is it, Rock?
It says out of order.
Well, I guess it was really my own fault then,
Now let's get up to Mount Flatten, shall we?
A good idea. Ready, Bullwinkle?
I guess so.
Hurry!
Oop!
And once again, Rocky flashed upward toward the bottom of Mount Flatten, miles above, while Bullwinkle and the two villains waited anxiously below.
I can't watch, Natasha.
You nervous, darling?
No, sun is in my eyes.
Higher and higher the flying squirrel went, and this time...
Yes?
Yes?
Yes.
He made it!
Hooray!
In no time at all, Rocky had lowered a long, long rope, and Boris, Natasha, and Bullwinkle began their climb upward. A couple of hours later, the two villains reached the top.
So this is Mount Flatten. I wouldn't have known the old place.
You've never been here before, darling.
That's why I wouldn't have known it.
Now I wonder which way to Bullwinkle's mine.
You know, I've been thinking, Natasha.
All right. Who gets double-crossed?
Moose owns Upsidasium mine. We need moose.
Right.
But now we're up here. Who needs squirrel?
Moose needs squirrel.
He don't count.
And Boris blithely began to push a huge boulder from its resting place on a ledge just above our unsuspecting hero.
Well, this business is full of headaches.
Be with us next time for Rocky and the Rock, or Braver and Bolder.
Well, it looks as if our time has just about run out.
Mine must be a little slow.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop!
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right!
Bye now. See you next time.